Live from Midland, Odessa, and Big Spring. We're Basin trusted, Basin proud. This is Local 2 News. Good morning, Basin.
Good morning, Basin. Will we see another day in the upper 90s? Stay tuned to find out.
Also, the First Lady announces her platform, how she's trying to help kids use social media in a positive way.
And when an officer dies, their story doesn't. That's the message that leaders want Texans to remember about when they think about the men and women who have sacrificed their lives in the line of duty.
Then, this week honors our nurses, how they were honored in the city of Odessa.
Good morning, Basin. I'm Lupi Zapata.
And I'm Dawn Log. Thanks for joining us this morning. Forecaster Kaylee Hunt joining us on the desk a little early to talk about the weather. It's been hot out there.
Definitely been hot, and even this morning temps are above average in the mid to lower 70s. Midland, Odessa sitting at 72, Wink 71. Now south of I-10, it's a little bit cooler in the mid to upper 60s. Marfa 61, Alpine 66, but don't let these temperatures fool you. It's going to be another warm day here in West Texas. By noon, it's going to be 87, and that wind speed's going to increase to 17 miles an hour. And then by 4 p.m., 98 for most of the viewing area, and that wind speed will be 16 miles an hour. So yes, it's going to be warm. Yes, it's going to be windy, and there's even a slight chance for some thunderstorms. Now by 8 p.m., that wind speed will increase to 20 miles an hour. The temperature will decrease only into the lower 90s, and there is still a small chance for some thunderstorm activity. Let's take a look at overnight. Now it is going to decrease to the mid to upper 60s, and that wind speed will decrease as well. But overall, it is going to be a warm day, and I'll break that down for you coming up later on, but I'm tossing it right back over to you guys.
President Trump is expected to announce his intentions on pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal today. He said in a tweet Monday he'll make that announcement later today. Pulling out of the deal would mean the U.S. will no longer waive sanctions on Iran's bank and energy sectors. Many experts believe President Trump will exit the deal that he's blasted since the presidential campaign, calling it the worst deal ever.
There are too many critical issues facing children today. So the three main pillars of Be Best will include well-being, social media use, and opioid abuse.
And First Lady Melania Trump commanded the spotlight Monday, unveiling her formal platform called Be Best. Natasha Chen explains the three pillars of her program focused on children.
Nearly 16 months into her tenure, Melania Trump announced her platform as First Lady, Be Best.
Let us teach our children the difference between right and wrong and encourage them to be best in their individual paths in life.
Standing feet from the Oval Office in the historic Rose Garden, Mrs. Trump expanded on three pillars of this program: well-being, social media, and opioid abuse.
Together, I believe we should strive to provide kids with the tools they need to cultivate their social and emotional health.
She made sure to recognize a young student who created the Buddy Bench at school, so anyone sitting on the bench at recess would be a signal to others to reach out and invite the person to play. As for social media,
too often it's used in negative ways.
Critics have pointed out the irony of her focus on cyberbullying when her husband has used Twitter to attack political enemies.
When children learn positive online behaviors early on, social media can be used in productive ways and can affect positive change.
President Trump has praised the way the First Lady has visited hospitals, schools, and families dealing with the opioid epidemic. He then signed a proclamation making May 7th the Be Best Day.
I think you all know who's going to get the pen.
This announcement has taken relatively longer for Melania Trump. Michelle Obama unveiled her Let's Move initiative 13 months into her tenure, and Laura Bush debuted Ready to Read, Ready to Learn in June of her first year as First Lady. In Washington, I'm Natasha Chen reporting.
Across Texas, charges are pending for a man police say jumped into a lake while running from deputies on Sunday. DPS says one of their troopers was trying to stop the driver of a pickup truck when he took off. Other law enforcement agencies were called in for backup when a man jumped into the lake. An Austin Police Department boat found the man in the water, but he refused to get in. After nearly 30 minutes, the man complied and police took him into custody on the boat.
And new body cam video shows a Texas police officer jumping into a lake to pull a driver out of a car. It happened Saturday morning near Houston. Witnesses say the fast-moving car jumped a curb and accelerated off an embankment. Responding officers broke a window and pulled a woman out of the car shortly before it sank below the surface. She told police she fell asleep behind the wheel. And she should be thankful that officers were there because that lake that they pulled her from is a known habitat for alligators and snakes.
Texas lost 18 men and women in blue last year across a variety of law enforcement agencies. Monday, their family members, departments, and the state's leaders came together at the state capitol to remember them. Local 2's Steffi Lee has a story.
When an officer dies, their story doesn't.
Our legacy is to keep his name alive.
Texas Tech police officer Floyd East Jr. died in the line of duty last year, shot and killed by a student officers took into custody. The state's Peace Officers Memorial Ceremony honored him and 17 others.
When every one of us suffers a loss, we all suffer a loss.
A loss felt by law enforcement agencies statewide, and especially family members.
I was never left alone. The blue line extends very far.
We always say that we end up being a part of a family that we never wanted to be a part of, and a family we never want to leave.
Texas has sent a clear message.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the state's taken steps in the last few years to back the blue.
Texas passed a law making it a hate crime to attack an officer simply because of the badge they wear. We also provided our officers with better equipment like rifle-resistant vests.
Officer East's family has formed a foundation to support other officers, a way to show gratitude to a community that's known to give so much.
It's time to pay it forward.
Steffi Lee, Local 2 News.
This memorial ceremony usually takes place every other year. The group called Metroplex Concerns of Police Survivors says they will most likely change to become an annual gathering. Gabe McDonald is expected to be in court this afternoon for his pre-trial hearing. A trial date has been set for June 11th. You'll recall Gabe was charged for the 2016 murder of his parents along with his sister, Grace McDonald.
In Big Spring, police making several arrests in connection with the theft of 2 firearms, including a machine gun from a home back in April. Now we're told 4 juveniles were arrested. Back on May 4th, a missing machine gun and a rifle were found. The Big Spring Police Department says they expect to make more adult and juvenile arrests. Big Spring Crime Stoppers are offering a reward for any found firearms or information leading to an arrest. And deputies in Ector County looking for a man they say led them on a lengthy car chase Sunday night. Now we're told that the driver of a yellow and black Camaro failed to stop at the red light near Northeast Loop 338 and JBS Parkway. When officers trying to pull over the car, the driver sped off. The driver, later identified as John Ellsworth, also hit a patrol unit during the course of the pursuit. The car was later found abandoned in the 3800 block of Bowie Avenue. No arrests have been made at this time. A new rule now in effect requires all restaurant chains with 20 more locations to post the calorie count of all items on the menu. It is one of the last items to be implemented of the 2010 Affordable Care Act. Local 2's Anna Warnicki reports on the rules and how the restaurant industry is reacting.
Starting Monday, all restaurants with 20 or more locations will have to tell you exactly how many calories are in all items on the menu.
Whether you're in Nashville or whether you're here in Washington, D.C., today you are actually going to see the same calorie information.
Cicely Simpson with the National Restaurant Association says the new law is part of the 2010 Affordable Care Act. She says the new requirements include more than just restaurants.
So restaurants, convenience stores, grocery stores, certainly stadiums and theaters and anywhere where you find restaurant type foods.
Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Scott Gottlieb says the goal is to improve public health and help Americans make more informed decisions about their diets.
Even if individuals want to eat poorly, it's up to them.
But Darren Baxt with the conservative think tank The Heritage Foundation says the law equates to government overreach.
What is the government interest in deciding that we should make sure that people shouldn't be able to eat a certain way or try to influence them not to eat a certain way?
Bax says some restaurants simply can't afford to change their menus.
I feel bad for some restaurants that are going to have a very hard time complying. It's going to cost them a lot of money.
The FDA says it will be working with restaurants over the next year to help change their menus. After that, restaurants that don't comply with the law could face fines or even jail time. In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki.
Walmart is tightening its opioid prescription policies. The retail giant is limiting the lengths of such prescriptions and requiring they be filled electronically. The company announced on Monday that within 60 days, it will only fill first-time acute opioid prescriptions for 7 days or less nationwide. It will also limit the dosage to 50 morphine milligram equivalents per day. The new restrictions follow recommendations from the CDC.
And the city of Odessa is recognizing its nurses this week. National Nurse Week is every year in May. An official proclamation was made by the mayor's office to declare this week as Nurses Week in the city of Odessa. A ceremony was held in the Medical Center Hospital cafeteria Monday. Nurses there telling us they appreciated the gesture.
It's always nice to know that they're supporting the hospital and they're supporting nursing. They've always been a big supporter of nursing, and I think when you look at, again, nursing as a whole, play a very big role in the hospital and how patients are cared for and what that care looks like at the bedside and how it's delivered.
Nurses Week is May 6th through the 12th.
And as millions of men and women celebrate National Nurses Week, you can honor them too. Here's Kim Hutchinson with today's Health Minute to tell you how.
It's National Nurses Week, a time to celebrate, appreciate, and say thank you to the millions of men and women who play a crucial role in healthcare. If you've ever been to the doctor or emergency room, chances are they're standing on the front lines. Nurses are the people we're most likely to see and speak with first and last during a visit. They patch us up, keep us calm, and make sure doctors have all the critical information they need to help us get better. According to the American Nurses Association, Nurse Appreciation Week begins on May 6th every year and ends on May 12th, which is Florence Nightingale's birthday. She's credited with founding modern-day nursing. So take some time to appreciate and thank the nurses in your life this week. They inspire and influence countless lives. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
I know I've interviewed a lot of nurses over at MCH and some of our other hospitals, and they work hard.
They do work very hard. So any nurses out there watching this morning, thank you. We are live on Facebook right now. So if you'd like to visit Local 2's Facebook page, you could get a behind the scenes look into the studio and feel free to ask us some questions.
Super cool. Switching gears, it's going to be warm. Now, as people head out the door, they're going to notice it's not even that cool. Midland and Odessa is only 72 degrees, Wink 71, Big Spring in the upper 60s, and even south of I-10, it's in the mid to upper 60s, Marfa 61, Alpine 66. However, we are warmer today than when we are yesterday. Wink 12 degrees warmer this morning than yesterday morning. Carlsbad 11 degrees warmer. Even Pecos showing up 7 degrees warmer this morning than yesterday morning. And what that tells you is it's going to be warm today. And with these warm temperatures, it's also going to be windy. Right now, the Permian Basin is having wind speeds in the mid to upper teens. Now, south of I-10, not as breezy, but that will pick up later. But let's take a look at the day planner. So we are going to start the day off in the mid to upper 60s, but take a look at this. By noon, 87, and by 5 p.m., we're going to be in the upper 90s. I'll break all this down coming up in my full weather forecast.
Now, your Local 2 Weather Authority forecast. We warn you first.
Good morning, I'm forecaster Kaylee. I'm in for Chase. He has the morning off, and taking a look at the Doppler radar, you're going to wake up to some cloud coverage. It is rolling in from the west into our viewing area. But let's take a look at the temperatures. Now, it is going to be a warm day. It's a warm morning. Midland, Odessa is at 72, Big Spring 69, Wink 71, even south of I-10 in the mid to upper 60s. It's warm this morning, warmer than yesterday morning. You can see we're about 5 to 12 degrees warmer this morning than just 24 hours ago. Wink, 12 degrees warmer. Midland, Odessa only showing up at 3 degrees. Marfa, 6 degrees warmer. So it is going to be a warm day. Like I said, temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s, if not the lower 70s, but by lunchtime, most of the viewing area will be in the mid to upper 80s. Midland, Odessa, 86, Big Spring, 86 just by noon. Wink, 89 degrees. And take a look at Pecos, already hitting 93. And that's going to be for the rest of the viewing area. It's going to be in the mid to lower 90s, even later on into the evening around 7 p.m. So it is going to be warm, and it's also going to be windy. Now, heading out the door right now, wind speed is in the teens in the Permian Basin, and even south of I-10, Alpine, 23-mile-per-hour wind speed. So yes, it's going to be warm and it's going to be windy, and this wind speed will still vary, but it's still going to be between the mid to upper teens. So it's going to be windy for most of the day until later on in the evening. By 8 p.m., that wind speed will increase in the Permian Basin into the lower 20s, even south of I-10. Still going to be in the mid to upper teens, if not the mid to lower 20s. Tracking to see if we're going to get any rain in the forecast or any thunderstorms. Well, there is a possibility. Now, throughout the day, it is going to be clear, partly cloudy, a little bit of cloud coverage around noon. And then throughout the day, you're going to see a little bit of storm activity start to form. Now, it is going to start to form part of our western viewing area and then make its way into our viewing area. Now, parts of the northern basin has a strong chance to see some thunderstorm activity throughout the evening into later on in the night, and then it's going to leave our viewing area. However, any chance of rain is good because our drought monitor isn't looking too good right now. A large portion of the viewing area is showing up in this tan color, which means it's showing up moderately in a drought. Again, we haven't had any good rain here in a while, so any rain chances is always a good thing. But let's take a look at the day planner. Now, like I said, it's going to be warm. We are starting the day off in the mid to upper 60s. However, by noon, it's going to be 87, and we're still not done. It's going to get into the upper 90s later on by 5 p.m. That's going to be the case for most of the viewing area. Taking a look at the northern basin, you're going to notice a trend of mid to upper 90s, even in the hundreds. Andrews, 97, Big Spring, 96, Midland and Odessa, 97 as well, Penwell, 99. Let's take a look at Monahans, 101, even Barstow and Grand Falls, 102. It's going to be a very warm day. Trans-Pecos between the mid to upper 90s, and even Pecos, 102. So overall, it's going to be warm, and the mountains usually run cooler than average, but not today. Fort Davis, 90 degrees, Marfa, 90. Take a look at Presidio, 100. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Now today, 97, 20% chance for some thunderstorm activity. That's going to take place later on in the evening around 7, 8 o'clock tonight. And then Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be warm, and Friday, 100 degrees here in Midland and Odessa. Now that Friday is forecasted a little bit out. It actually could be 101, so we'll still keep our eye on that. But overall, it's going to be warm and it's going to be hot.
Gosh.
Definitely,
Yes.
and then it drops down to the 80s.
down
Chase
to
put
the 80s.
cool yesterday as a joke on when it was 88.
80s
That
is still warm, but cooler than 100,
Compared
definitely.
to 100.
Yes.
All right,
Making
Kaylee,
those
thank
triple
you.
digits.
Well, week 2 of Dancing with the Stars kicked off last night. ABC's George Pinocchio reports from the ballroom with all the highlights you missed.
Olympic skater Mirai Nagasu and her good friend, fellow Olympic skater Adam Rippon, both scored 3 9s and a 10 in the second week of Dancing with the Stars athletes. Their football-themed team dance got the same numbers, which put both skating stars tied for first place with the judges.
I don't think anybody was happier than me when Mirai got a 10 tonight, and she really motivated us to have a really great dance.
I want to make it to the finals.
Former Olympic skater Tanya Harding is thrilled she will also move on to week 3 of this 4-week competition.
I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm just hoping that, I can make people proud. But the most important thing is that I'm proud of me, my son and husband are proud, Sasha's proud. As long as he has a smile on his face, I know that I'm doing something right.
But something went wrong for both basketball stars. Arike Ogunbowale and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were eliminated. Kareem had to leave for a speaking engagement right after the show, but his partner came backstage.
I think he had so much fun, and seeing his face light up on the stage every single night was pretty cool because he's not the most animated guy, but seeing him enjoy himself out there on the stage, that's what made it so inspiring for me each week.
It's something not a lot of people can say they've done, and I'm blessed that they chose me and wanted me to do it, so it was a really cool experience.
The competition gets even tougher next week when 3 of the remaining 6 couples will be eliminated. In Los Angeles, George Pinocchio for ABC News.
Now, your weather right now.
Nice. A lot of figure skaters in this one. It is athletes, I guess.
It is. I was expecting Ripon to be dancing a little bit better than he is.
I was saying I haven't watched.
But they've made it incredibly glitzy and glamoury.
Oh, yeah.
The first show, they had a completely new set.
Nice.
It was really nice.
Well, let us know what you think.
Very interesting. Switching gears, it's going to be warm today. I'm sure our viewers know that, and it's also a little bit cloudy as you're heading out the door. You're going to see some cloud coverage, but let's take a look at the temperatures. Now it is in the mid to lower 70s, and that is above average for this time of year. Now south of I-10, a little bit cooler if you consider 67 cool. It's 67 in Alpine, Dryden 63. And it's also windy, especially in the Permian Basin, 17 miles an hour in Midland, Odessa. Big Spring 17 as well, Wink 15 mile an hour wind speed. So it's warm and it's also windy. Let's switch to the day planner. Now we are starting the day off in the mid 60s, but by lunchtime, it's gonna be in the upper 80s. And then by 4 p.m., 98 degrees. Now there is a small chance for some thunderstorm activity, but I'll show you that in the 7-day forecast coming up later on.
Welcome back. It's just before 6:30 and we love to celebrate local birthdays. Happy birthday, Jerry Julian.
Aww.
Very happy 11th birthday with many more to come from all her family, especially Grandma Cindy. Love you, baby girl. Love that picture. Celebrate with us, you guys. You have to share with us. Contact us here at the station so we can air your birthday. And now let's take a look at some celebrities that share a birthday with you. First, pop singer Enrique Iglesias, turning 43.
43.
Love that music.
Up next, we have TV actor Stephen Amell, turning 37 today.
I can't see his face.
I don't know what he's from.
What is he in? I can't see his face, you guys.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Switching it up, reality star Karen Gravano, turning 46.
I feel like she's Mob Wives. Oh, I knew it. Something like that. I was like, Wags, something like that. Baseball player Adrian Gonzalez turning 36. Mets player right there.
Up next, we have TV actress Melissa Gilbert turning 54 today.
Nice.
And finally, basketball player Kemba Walker turning 28.
Charlotte Hornets represent.
Extremely young.
Yeah.
Guys, I feel bad. I have a friend, Tom Rhodes, born and raised in Odessa. I didn't see his birthday until just now on my Facebook notification. So
happy birthday,
Tom
everyone.
Rhodes,
Happy birthday. It's a good day to celebrate your birthday. Perfect for some ice cream and cake because it's going to be warm, 97. Now there is a small chance for some thunderstorms, but that isn't until the evening, around 7, 8 p.m. So the day is going to be partly cloudy and warm, and this trend is going to continue Wednesday, Thursday, 96, and then Friday, the big 100. It's going to be warm. Make sure you guys stay hydrated.
Live from Midland, Odessa, and Big Spring, we're Basin Trusted, Basin Proud. This is Local 2 News. Good morning, Basin.
Good morning, Basin. Will we see another day in the upper 90s? Stay tuned to find out.
Also, Gabe McDonald expected for a pretrial. We have an update on the murder case coming up.
And first responders in Big Spring kept busy Monday with fire calls. We have the details.
Then, after Easy Rider closed an Odessa route for a few hours yesterday, we take a look at a bigger problem the company is dealing with.
Good morning, Basin. I'm Lupe Zapata.
And I'm Dawn Log. Thanks for joining us this morning. Today's Tuesday, May 8th, 2018. Gabe McDonald is expected to be in court this afternoon for his pre-trial hearing. A trial date has been set for June 11th. You'll recall Gabe was charged for the 2016 murder of his parents along with his sister, Grace McDonald.
And we're now learning that the 19-year-old that we first told you about yesterday, who was hit by a truck on Oakwood and JBS Parkway in Odessa, is now in critical condition. Now, Odessa police tell us he was hit by a GMC truck after crossing Oakwood while not using a crosswalk. One of the passengers in that truck said the pedestrian came out of nowhere. No arrest or citations have been given at this time.
Moving to an update on the McDonald fire in Jeff Davis County. At last check, the fire 59% contained and still active in the county. We're told the fire already burned nearly 20,000 acres of land. Officials say the cause was lightning. Voluntary evacuation notices were given to residents in the Davis Mountain Resort area. A notice was issued by the county asking residents to conserve water.
And happening in Big Spring, multiple fires sparked up around the city Monday, keeping Big Spring first responders busy. As firefighters tried their best to contain the flames, police say they evacuated people from their homes and apartments in case the wildfires grew into nearby residential areas. We're told as many evacuated their homes, leaving water and food behind. The city's YMCA opened their doors despite not having any power.
When you think of somebody's home, whether they've stayed there a year, 25, 30 years, or the house was passed down from generation, and that gone in an instant, you can never replace that kind of stuff.
The fire on Martin Luther King Boulevard was contained, and Big Spring's fire chief says they're thankful that they didn't lose any houses due to the fire. However, the damage caused by the fire on Ratliff is still determined this morning.
Now, your weather right now.
Good morning, I'm forecaster Kaylee Hunt in for Chase, and it's going to be a warm day. Now, heading out the door, you're going to see a little bit of cloud coverage rolling in from the west into our viewing area. And it's also windy. Now, wind speeds in the Permian Basin is in the upper teens, wind 15 miles an hour. Now, south of I-10, a little bit less breezy in the single digits, but that wind speed will increase as well as our temperatures. But taking a look at the temperature as you're heading out the door, it's in the lower 70s for parts of the viewing area. Midland, Odessa, 72, Big Spring, 68. Now, south of I-10, a little bit cooler in the mid to upper 60s, Dryden, 63, Alpine starting their day off at 67. But it is going to be warm. Let's take a look at the day planner. So we are going to start the day off in the mid 60s, but by lunchtime we're going to be in the mid to upper 80s, and that wind speed's going to increase to 17 miles an hour. And then by 4 p.m., well, it's going to be 98, and that wind speed is still going to increase, so it's going to be warm today. It's also going to be windy. Now, there is a slight chance for some thunderstorm activity later on in the evening around 8 p.m., and it's still going to be warm. I'll give you more weather coming up later on. However, I'm tossing it right back over to you guys.
Drivers, listen up before you head out the door this morning. Installation of an 18-inch water line near 52nd Street and Dixie will cause various road closures. The following roads are expected to be closed to traffic for the next week. To avoid delays, drivers are encouraged to find alternate routes. And taking a look at several other traffic alerts in the area, in Midland County, crews will be working on FM 3095, about 1.5 miles south of FM 1379. Looking ahead in Andrews County, crews are working on 176 between mile markers 270 and 274 on Thursday. Crews will work for the rest of the week on 115 in Winkler County and RM 2355 in Ward County.
And happening today, Odessa's own Chris Kyle, also known as the American Sniper, will have a portion of Highway 191 named in his honor. The Chris Kyle Memorial Highway will be unveiled at 10 o'clock this morning at the Memorial Plaza near Mission Fitness. We're told there will be a brief program before the unveiling. The event is free and open to the public. Rising oil prices just passed another milestone, jumping above $70 per barrel during Monday's trade in Asia. Oil prices have been climbing partly because of expectations that President Trump will abandon the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, which allowed Iran to export more crude oil. This is the first time the U.S. crude benchmark has been above $70 since November of 2014.
And today in the Baker Hughes rig count, the U.S. sits at 1,032 rigs, up 11 from last week and up 18% from this time last year. In Texas, there are 515 rigs out this week, and here in the Permian Basin, there are 458. And taking a look at oil and gas prices in our area this week, a barrel of crude sitting around $70. Those numbers courtesy of Bloomberg.
And Odessa's bus service, Easy Rider, has recently been forced to close down bus routes for short periods of time due to a lack of drivers. We're told one of the main causes for the shortage is linked back to the oil field. Local 2's Caleb Califano spoke to Easy Rider administrators and passengers about what they're trying to do to combat the shortage.
For many, taking the Easy Rider is an everyday occurrence. But early Monday morning for a few hours, the bus doors closed and stayed that way due to a shortage of workers.
We are currently experiencing a loss of drivers to the oil industry.
As the draw of the oil field grows, the need for more CDL drivers is a main priority.
Jobs are increasing their wages to try to compete with the oil field, and we can't keep up with that.
Since January 1st, Easy Rider has lost nearly 10 drivers in just Midland and Odessa, and they've done everything to try to bring in more, including increased advertising and raising the average pay.
Well, without the bus, I can't get around.
As noon rolls around, the buses pull up like normal, but temporary closures do cause concern.
So when there's change for us, we have to change for it. That's what I see, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I see a positive thing in every negative.
I just came in town, but I needed buses to go shopping, pay bills, and a lot of people use it to visit family members.
Easy Rider isn't the only group feeling the long reach of the oil field. However, it's an important one for everyday lives of residents in Midland and Odessa.
I'd ride a bus. I got friends ride a bus, so hopefully they can work it out.
Caleb Califano, Local 2 News.
Now, Easy Rider says they're looking at options to try and keep workers from leaving, which include possibly introducing contracts for CDL drivers sometime in the future.
Big Spring ISD is hosting a campus carry community meeting this week. They'll discuss the possibility of allowing some staff members to carry firearms on campuses. The event invites everyone to ask questions and engage in open discussion on the campus carry program. The meeting is scheduled for May 9th at Big Spring High School.
And happening today, a group of moms will be protesting Midland School District. The newly formed group called the Midland Moms on a Mission has scheduled a public protest aiming for safety to become the most important issue for MISD. Organizers say they invite the community to stand up to bring awareness to procedures that they feel need to be changed so that parents know their options when their child becomes a victim. The protest will start this morning at 9:30 in front of the district's administration building on West Missouri Avenue. And Midland School District will be hosting a public forum this Thursday. The district's Facility Master Planning Committee invites residents to discuss future educational needs. Anyone wanting to attend can do so from 6 to 7:30 Thursday at Yarborough Elementary School. And with recent boundary changes, Ector County ISD is reopening their magnet application window. We're told students now have until Thursday, May 17th to apply.
Meanwhile, State Representative Brooks Landgraf expressing his support to transform Ector Middle School into the Ector Success Academy network. Landgraf delivered a letter to Texas Commissioner of Education Mike Morath that reads in part, "I believe that this new partnership will allow Ector Middle School to achieve a higher accountability ranking. Our state's young people are undoubtedly our greatest resource, and any opportunity to improve the quality of their education should be considered a priority." Now, the district's Board of Trustees unanimously approved the agreement and now needs the approval of the Texas Education Agency. A lot going on before summer break.
Yeah. so much. And it's already starting to feel like summer with these high temperatures we're feeling.
It is definitely feeling like summer now. I said this earlier in the show, but West Texas doesn't really get a spring. It already feels like summer with these temperatures this morning. 72 in Midland and Odessa, 71 in Wink, Pecos 64. Now south of I-10 it is a little bit cooler if you do consider 67 cool. That's what it is in Alpine right now. But here we are. Now it is warmer by about 6 to 12 degrees this morning than yesterday morning. Wink 12 degrees warmer this morning. Pecos 8 degrees warmer this morning, and Marfa 6 degrees warmer. Now with these warm temperatures is this West Texas wind. It is going to be another windy day. In the Permian Basin, wind speed will be between 15 to 20 miles per hour throughout the day. Now south of I-10, not as windy, but that wind speed will pick up. Here's a look at the day planner. So we are going to start the day off in the mid to upper 60s. It's a mild start. And then by noon, 87. And then by 5 p.m., 97. It's going to be a very warm day. I'll break all that down coming up in my full weather forecast.
Your Morning Rush, brought to you by Health Mart.
Welcome back. People are bracing for a flood in Iowa, and it's time to appreciate teachers.
We have these stories and more all in today's edition of the Morning Rush.
Davenport, Iowa is bracing for flooding that's expected to hit later this week. The Mississippi River is predicted to crest at almost 18 feet on Friday following recent heavy rains.
And Hawaii's Department of Transportation officials are concerned about cracks on Highway 130 that got bigger over the weekend. Those cracks are believed to be related to nearby volcanic activity.
President Trump is expected to announce his intentions on pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal Tuesday. He said in a tweet Monday he will make that announcement at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
And shares of Apple hit an all-time high Monday as it moves closer to becoming the first U.S. company to reach a $1 trillion market value. The company's value is now more than $900 billion.
Today is National Teacher Appreciation Day. Political and educational leaders began the discussion for a special day to honor teachers back in 1944, but it wasn't made official by Congress until March of 1980. And that does it for today's edition of The Morning Rush.
Now, your Local 2 Weather Authority forecast. We warn you first.
Good morning. I'm forecaster Kaylee in for Chase. He does have the morning off, but let's take a look at the Doppler radar. Now, you are going to warm up into the mid to upper 90s today, and this cloud coverage is rolling in from the west. However, we're not in the 90s yet. We are in the mid to lower 70s for most of the viewing area. Midland, Odessa at 72, Wink at 71. South of I-10, a little bit cooler between the mid to upper 60s. And even though we're in the mid to upper 60s and the lower 70s, we are showing up warmer this morning than yesterday morning. Wink 12 degrees warmer this morning, Pecos 8 degrees warmer, even Carlsbad showing up 11 degrees warmer this morning than 24 hours ago. And so what that says is today is going to be a very warm day. Like I said, temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s to lower 70s. But by lunchtime, it is going to heat up into the mid to upper 80s. Midland, Odessa, 87 by noon. Fort Stockton will be 91, Pecos 94 degrees. Now we're going to reach the 90s and then slowly start to cool down. But by 7 p.m., we're still going to be in the 90s for most of the viewing area, then later dipping down into the upper 80s. Now, along with this warm weather, well, it's going to be windy. In the Permian Basin, wind speed right now is in the mid to upper teens. Throughout the day, that's going to fluctuate, but it will remain between 15 and 20 miles per hour, meaning it's going to be warm today, and it's also going to be windy. But tracking to see if we're going to get any rain in the forecast, well, there is a slight chance to get some small thunderstorms and isolated showers. That's going to take place later on in the afternoon. Around 3 p.m. they're going to start to form, and then it's going to make its way through our viewing area. Now, parts of the northern basin could actually see some thunderstorms. You can see that is going to take place later on in the evening. and then it's going to eventually leave our viewing area. However, any rain is good news because our drought monitor is still not looking too good. A large portion is showing up in this tan color, which means it's showing up moderately in a drought. Again, we haven't had any good rain in a while, so any chance of rain is always good news. Let's take a look at the day planner. So we are going to start the day off in the mid to upper 60s. However, by lunchtime, it's going to be in the upper 80s, and then by 5 p.m., well, it's going to be 97 degrees, and that wind speed will still be between 10 and 20 miles an hour. And that's going to be the case for most of the viewing area. Now, parts of the northern basin will vary between the mid to upper 90s, but take a look at Gel. It's 100 degrees forecasted for today. That's going to be the case, mid to upper 90s, if not in the hundreds. Midland, Odessa, 97, but Grand Falls, 102, Monahans, 101. It's definitely going to be a warm day. Make sure you stay hydrated. Pecos, forecasted to be 102. The mountains usually runs a little bit cooler. Well, not today. Marfa, 90 degrees. Alpine, 93. Presidio, 100. And although it's not going to be in the hundreds today in Midland and Odessa, it's still going to be warm, 97 with a 20% chance for some thunderstorm activity. Again, that is going to take place partly in the northern basin and later on by 8 p.m. But the 90s, they're not going anywhere. It's going to be 90s for the rest of the week. And then, I don't know if you saw it, but Friday, 100.
Oh, I saw it. I think everybody saw it.
Definitely. So it's going to be warm and it's going to stay warm. So definitely keep drinking water. Put on that sunscreen because the sun is out.
Good to know, Kaylee. Thank you. Well, refund season is upon us. According to the IRS, last year, nearly 8 out of 10 people got a tax refund worth an average of just under $3,000. If that trend holds up to this year, many taxpayers will once again get a nice check from Uncle Sam. Ray Maloney has a closer look at the 5 smartest ways to spend that extra cash.
Don't splurge, be smart. That's the advice from financial experts about how to spend your tax refund check from Uncle Sam. 1. Start an emergency fund. The CEO of SmartPath Financial says you should be prepared for unexpected expenses.
Ultimately, you're trying to get to 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund. I start with 1 month. So maybe it's $2,000. You're setting that in a savings account.
2. Pay off your debt. Whatever you owe money on, work hard to get rid of it and avoid paying double-digit interest rates.
You're going to take the highest interest rate first and work that piece of debt off first, and that's going to help you save some money.
3. Upgrade your house. It's likely your most valuable asset, so pour money into projects that will raise equity.
But kitchen and bathrooms is the where to put the money in terms of homes.
4. Put the money towards your individual retirement account. If you don't have one, then don't put it off.
Whether that's Roth or traditional, don't get too caught up there, just get it started. If you start investing sooner, you get the opportunity for your money to compound.
And number 5, have fun. After all, fun is in the word refund.
So let's say you've paid off a credit card or you've paid off your student loans or whatever your next goal is, that 20% is there to help that you can spend as a reward for finishing that goal.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
Now, your weather right now.
Some good tips.
We're talking about how we want to save money and put it towards something. I want to build a tiny house.
And build a tiny house.
Save up a little bit.
I'm definitely going to share some information. I love watching tiny house renovations on HGTV. It's one of my guilty pleasures.
I love it as well. I love it on YouTube.
I think it's so cool how people can just live in such a small space and like make it work. I mean.
Well, if you renovate, they said bathrooms, kitchens.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Are good places to start.
And I guess you would save a lot of money if you do own a tiny house on your AC bill because today is going to be very warm. I don't know about you, but I definitely put on my AC overnight because temps in the 70s isn't really all that cool. Even south of I-10, they are a little bit cooler in the mid to upper 60s, but it is going to be a warm and windy day. Now, parts of the Permian Basin is in the 17-mile-per-hour range. It is going to be windy. And it's going to be warm. Here's a look at the day planner. So we're going to start the day off in the 60s, work our way up into the 80s by lunchtime, and then by 4 p.m., well, 98, and that wind speed will be 16 miles an hour. I will definitely show you what the rest of the week looks like coming up later on.
Good morning. Coming up on GMA, the New York Attorney General resigning following allegations of physical abuse. This after being known as a prominent voice throughout the Me Too movement. Ronan Farrow, who broke the story, and our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, going to join us to talk about it this morning. It's all coming up only on GMA.
You're watching Local 2 News. Good morning, Basin.
Welcome back. It's just before 7 and time now to recap this morning's top stories.
Gabe McDonald is expected to be in court this afternoon for his pre-trial hearing. A trial date has been set for June 11th. You'll recall Gabe was charged with the 2016 murder of his parents along with his sister, Grace McDonald.
Big Spring Fire Department battled multiple fires all around the city. As firefighters tried their best to contain the flames, police say they evacuated many out of their homes and apartments in case the wildfire spread into nearby residential areas. The fire on Martin Luther King Boulevard was contained. The Big Spring Fire Chief says they're thankful they didn't lose any houses due to this fire, but the damage caused by the fire on Ratliff is still undetermined. Big Spring ISD is hosting a Campus Carry community meeting this week. They'll discuss the possibility of allowing some staff members to carry firearms on campuses. The event invites everyone to ask questions and engage in open discussion on the Campus Carry program. The meeting is scheduled for May 9th at Big Spring High School.
And happening today, a group of moms will be protesting Midland School District. The newly formed group called Midland Moms on a Mission has scheduled a public protest aiming for safety to become the most important issue for MISD. Organizers say they invite the community to stand up to bring awareness to procedures that they feel need to be changed so that parents know their options when their child becomes a victim. The protest will start this morning at 9:30 in front of the district's administration building on West Missouri Avenue.
Drivers, listen up before you head out the door this morning. Installation of an 18-inch water line near 52nd Street and Dixie will cause various road closures. The following roads are expected to be closed to traffic for the next week. To avoid delays, drivers are encouraged to find alternate routes.
And taking a look at several other traffic alerts in the area. In Midland County, crews will be working on FM 3095 about 1.5 miles south of FM 1379. Looking ahead in Andrews County, crews are working on 176 between mile markers 270 and 274 on Thursday. Crews will be working for the rest of the week on 115 in Winkler County and RM 2355 in Ward County.
And here's your final look at the 7-day forecast. Today is going to be 97 and warm. Now there is a 20% chance for some thunderstorm activity later on in the evening around 8 p.m. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, it's still going to be in the mid-90s. And Friday, holy moly, 100 degrees. So it's going to be warm. Make sure you stay hydrated and wear your sunscreen because these 90s aren't going anywhere.
Some good tips for this week. Well, thank you for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day, and make sure you stay tuned on ABC for Good Morning America.